100 most important themes for prelims 2026, and this is not based on any kind of guesswork, but it is purely based on previous year question themes, deep research, as well as current affairs coverage. And not only we have given just 100 important topic name, but we have also given you what to study from those topics. Me, as well as Preeti Chauhan, AIR 47 CSE 2025, she has a message for all of you.
Hello everyone, this is Preeti Chauhan, All India rank 47 this year. So, me and Aditya sir, we have prepared a list of topics based on the current affairs and the static questions which are most probable to appear in this year's prelims question paper. I hope you will get the maximum benefit out of this list. Thank you so much.
Before starting, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in, day out. Let's work hard on these topics and achieve our dreams. So let's start from history. Ancient medieval history and art and culture is such a humongous subjects, and we do not have that much of time what to study, what not to study. So let's see what are the important topics that will come in prelims 2026 or may come in prelims 2026. So the first is Sushruta and Charak, constantly new since last 2-3 years, and they have surfaced in prelims as well in previous year questions. Sushruta and Charaka is a very important topic and favorite of UPSC. Vice President of India unveiled the statues of Charak and Sushruta at Raj Bhavan, and that is why it again surfaced in the news. Press Information Bureau, some important coaching centers had also published it. So what to study in this topic? You have to study about what contribution they have made in medicine, how it is part of the great trilogy of Ayurveda, the time period of them, what they contributed, and the confusion with respect to which empire they belong to is something which is UPSC's favorite. Then UPSC also asked a lot of questions on festivals and fairs. And Sangai festival was celebrated in Manipur, and this will be a very important one. And if you see, it has surfaced in many of the coaching mocks as well, because like Forum has also published it and many other places, because it was constantly in news. So if you see what can be asked from this topic, so they can ask you about Loktak Lake, they can ask you about state animal of Manipur, they can ask you about the Schedule 1 species under Wildlife Protection Act. So from history, it can go towards the environment as well. Specifically, the dancing deer is very much favorite of UPSC. Now let's see the next important topic, which was so much in news, UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Because of the Maratha military landscape inclusion, this again became very important. And it has been asked in prelims 2024, and so many times this has been asked in last 20 years. So it is one of the favorites. Now, if you see, it was covered in PIB, Hindu, Indian Express, and all the important current affairs source. India has how many of the World Heritage Sites, how many are cultural, how many are natural, where they are. These things are very, very important. And Jantar Mantar is of Delhi or Jaipur. These are some of the prelims traps. Through a few word change and place, they can trap you. That is how you need to study. Then Shivaji statue. Shivaji statue was so much in news. And so Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, his administration style, Ashtapradhan, they can ask you Chaut and Sardesh Mukhi, what was that? And what was the key difference, the key Maratha military landscape that you have to prepare this year? It is very, very important. Next topic is the Keezhadi excavation or Keezhadi excavation that was found in Tamil Nadu. One of the very important topic that UPSC keeps on asking is the Paleolithic, Neolithic, Mesolithic sites. So this becomes even more important because of UPSC's constant stress on these things. Now, what the time period belongs to, what are the important findings that you need to read, and just revise in NCERTs the important Neolithic sites that are given. Next important topic is the INS Kaundinya. So INS Kaundinya is named after a painting that was made in Ajanta caves. Now Ajanta caves and Ellora now both become important, and you need to go a bit deeper into it. The ship painting that was made, what is fresco painting, what are the important findings, it belonged to which philosophy or religion. These all things can be asked by the UPSC. Indian naval sailing vessel has been named after it. The next important is the Pipravaha relics that has been found in Uttar Pradesh. And UPSC had asked a lot of questions which are related to the relics, edicts, stupas. Now, these things are very, very important, and almost all. I am giving credits to all the coaching institutes as well, which has published it, not only just the newspapers. And if you see who discovered it, now the stupas are part of Buddhism, or Buddhism started it, or it was before as well. So these things and what it symbolizes, these things are very, very important. Then ASI, who established ASI? Who was Alexander Cunningham? That's how the things get connected and questions come. Then Santhal revolt, so much in news. Munda and Santhal, they were so much in news. Their scripts and revolt, the important leaders, their contributions, Santhal Pargana, these things can be asked by UPSC, and that's a very, very important topic for this year prelims examination. Then Vande Mataram, 150th anniversary Vande Mataram. What does it mean? Sujalam Sufalam Malayaju Sitlam. We had made a video as well on this. Then who wrote this? Then from where it was took. No? And the other writings of Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, the Vande Mataram was a Jangan Man. How it was decided that one will be national anthem, one will be national song. And then it can go towards Rabindranath Tagore's and his contribution in the making of national anthems of multiple countries, like Bangladesh also he had made Na Amar Shonar Bangla. In Sri Lanka also he has a contribution. So it can go like wise this. And some other books which has been written along with the Anand Math during this time period also becomes very, very important. PIB had covered it a lot of times. Then Somnath Temple. So Somnath Temple was very much in news. Somnath Temple has been asked directly by UPSC in past as well. Now from here, the Lord Shiva's Jyotirlings, all Jyotirlings becomes very, very important. And how Somnath Temple was constructed, and how many times it was invaded. Then after independence, who all were, who all attended the again reconstruction of Somnath Temple. All of these things will be asked. Now, another very important favorite theme of UPSC, in last 10 years, almost every year they are asking one question from personalities in news. So this year, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Ahilya Bai Holkar is very, very, very important for this year. So you have to prepare this very, very well. 300th birth anniversary of Devi Ahilya Bai Holkar. She has contributed immensely in India's cultural heritage preservation, specifically Kashi Vishwanath Temple. So you need to prepare all of this. And along with it, there were Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was also in news. So that also you can prepare a bit. Okay. Next, Government of India Acts are always very, very important. And out of that as well, these 1858, 1861, of course, the Regulating Act, the 1909, 1919, 1935 are also very, very important, and that you need to prepare. Not just you prepare the provisions, but also in comparative way, if you will prepare now what was introduced in 1909, what was changed from what was introduced in 1909, in 1919, and then in 1935. Then you will be able to comprehensively now address these topics. Don't just cram it. Next topic, the very important and very favorite, Jainism and Buddhism. And out of that as well, the sects of Buddhism and Jainism is particularly very, very important. I had made a video as well on this. I will put a link in the description of it. So the sects as well as the basic tenets, the basic books that have been written, the important personalities associated like bodhisattvas, the important saints, important places associated with Jainism and Buddhism. So these things, they will ask you the important philosophies and how it inspired the other philosophies as well. So these things you need to cover, and important places associated with Buddha and Mahavir. Sangam era, very, very important and favorite. And in that, particularly the literature, the society, how it contributed in terms of the Dravidian culture. All of this can be asked. Okay. Vijayanagara Empire. So every alternate year, you will see a question popping up about Vijayanagara Empire. So specifically the society of Vijayanagara Empire, how it was far ahead compared to the other civilization and culture of that time period. That is something which inspires a lot of questions. Then the cultural contribution, the jewels that adorned the Raja Krishnadev Raya, and how he had written a lot of books, the architecture of Vijayanagara Empire, and the struggle that happened during that time period in the Vijayanagara Empire. The travelers who visited Vijayanagara Empire, about Hampi, its architecture, etc., will be asked. Mauryan and Gupta administration, compare it. You study about Gupta and then you compare it with the Mauryan administration, then you will be able to understand it properly. Like when you are reading the Indus Valley civilization, compare it with the Vedic civilization. That's how you can get the maximum possible marks. Now, in terms of Mauryan and Gupta administration, one of the other important aspect is that is the 9 jewels of Gupta administration and the books that they have written. In Mauryas as well, if you will see the particularly Ashoka and his Dhamma and the stupas and edicts that he had erected and the important stupas, that are something which is absolutely favorite of UPSC. Okay. Delhi Sultanate administration is especially the contributions by Balban, the contributions by Iltutmish, the contributions by Alauddin Khalji, the contribution by Muhammad bin Tughlaq, these and Firoz Shah Tughlaq as well. These 4 or 5 are absolute favorite in the entire Delhi Sultanate. Also, if you are reading these 4 or 5 people and their contribution, it's enough. Majority of the question will come from here only. Then Bhakti and Sufi movement, again, try to study in a comparative way, not in a absolute way. If you will study in the absolute manner, then you will not be able to grasp the maximum out of it. And then important Bhakti saints, important Sufi saints, important Nirgun and Shagun. What is called as Nirgun? What is called as Shagun? And in Sufi also Besara, Basara. So these classification also you need to cover. The Great Ashoka and Akbar, they are one of the favorites because of they were the poster boys of syncretic culture. So their contribution in terms of syncretism, Ibadat Khana, Deen Ilahi, Ashoka's Dhamma, and their architectural contribution, their contribution in administration, these are absolute favorite of UPSC. And last but not the least, Mughal administration. In that as well, the administrative system, what was the name of what was the meaning of Mir Bakshi and all of this, and land revenue administration, the Sala system, Todermal's contribution in it is something which is favorite. And in that also, the events which happened during the Aurangzeb time periods are particularly very important. And provincial system as well, Suba, etc. Were all these Kotawals and the administrative system from the provincial to the central. That's something. Mansabdari system is a very important. Iqtadari system is also very important. Iltutmish, how he founded, and the coinage systems that was started by the Iltutmish, and specifically Sher Shah Suri also had contributed a lot, and something which was carried forward by Akbar. Then Gandhian movements is absolute favorite. So read specifically Quit India and then Civil Disobedience, and then they ask a bit of question in non-cooperation movements as well. What he did and do a comparative analysis, how he was changing stances and what was the peculiarity about individual movements. Okay. And some early movements, of course, he will study the Champaran and Kheda, Ahmedabad mill satyagraha and mill strike. So all of this are very important. And important books and authors, specifically the travelers who wrote books, like recently in CDS, the Rehala was asked. So Ibn Battuta had written it. Then the books written by Al-Baruni, Domingo Pius, Abul Fazal, and so forth. The travelers, what they talk, the Travernier, they had asked a lot of times, UPSC had asked about all of this. And then as I discussed, the nine jewels for Gupta and what books they have written, and other also important figures who had written books during that time periods are very important. I have given a list as well. Some of the things which had been asked by UPSC in the last 2-3 decades. So this was all about history, and let's move now to another subject. That is polity. Very important. And we all know that 60% of questions are coming from these particular units of Lakshmikant. But I will give you the current context as well and current topics as well, and how it will inspire a lot of questions in polity. Governor always in news because of the misuse of power, controversies, the controversy related to bills, specifically the ex-governor of Tamil Nadu state, the discretionary power of governor, and it was so much in news. There were Supreme Court rulings, honorable Supreme Court judgment as well. The governor must act within reasonable time on bills, and that was covered in almost all the coaching institutes as well. And the important articles which are related to governor versus president. do try to do a comparison. That will help you a lot. Then vice president and election removal and new vice president we have now, CP Radhakrishnan sir. So we need to read about it and how it is different from the presidential election. That is something how you need to read. Comparative analysis gives you more clarity. Chief Minister, the appointment procedure, removal and no confidence motion procedure. Recently, we have a new chief ministers, so that also you need to see a bit. Election Commission, so much in news, so much in controversy. How they can be removed, the removal procedure, their power, anti-defection, 10th schedule, Election Commission, how they are appointed, the Office of Election Representation of People's Act. So all of this can be asked, and we are going through elections in many states. Census 2027, how it is different. India's first digital and caste census, what will be measured in it, and the history of census. When it started in a synchronous way, what was the first census? First census was 1872, but synchronous is starting from 1881. Who started it? All of this. I have covered the key facts as well. When the caste enumeration started, then types of bill, specifically constitutional amendment. Recently, we have now delimitation and to have women reservation. All these constitutional amendment bill we had. So, what is the difference between ordinary bill, money bill, finance bill, constitutional amendment bill, the procedure? So that is very, very important. Then Honorable High Court, jurisdiction, judges, and impeachment process. Ad hoc judges. Who are ad hoc judges? That's very, very important. Finance Commission, important bodies. If we have to read about Finance Commission, its recommendation, Niti Aayog, CVC, and 100 years of UPSC has been celebrated. So UPSC, the composition, the power, that is very, very important. Preventive detention, Article 22, UAPA, habeas corpus, NSA. We had a very high profile case recently. Then the three list, union, state, and concurrent list. So this is very, very important. You should know now what all are there in union list, state list, and concurrent list. 7th schedule is a very, very important. Then some of the procedures like furlough, parole, remission, and probation and prisoner's right was so much in news in the last 2 years. And there was a Honorable Supreme Court ruling as well that came in 2025. Fundamental lies there. It's absolute favorite of UPSC along with the directive principle of state policy and the comparison between both and the recent expansions that have happened in the Article 21, specifically related to menstruation rights, digital rights. So these are very, very important. I have mentioned detailed facts that and if you want to have this PDF, you need to join our Telegram channel. This will be posted here itself within 24 hours of release of video. Preamble, the basics of Constitution, they have asked a lot. What does Constitution stand for? The peculiarity about Constitution, Constituent Assembly, the different the committees which were there, the nature of preamble. Is it what is the power of preamble? Is it enforceable or not? Then the keywords, secular, socialist, liberal. So UPSC had asked a lot of questions on this. Then emergency provision is an absolute favorite. The difference between national, state, and financial emergency and what bearing they have on fundamental rights is again an absolute favorite. Speaker was so much in news and the controversy with respect to speaker, the removal procedure, deputy speaker versus speaker, what are the procedures? If there is a removal procedure going on, then what are the things that needs to be taken in mind? Then POCSO Act, gender neutrality and child protection. So this was because of Honorable Supreme Court directions, this was so much in news. Then important judicial pronouncements related to the right to die, now case which is going on recently, menstrual hygiene, digital rights, Harshit Rana versus Union of India 2025 case, right to die with dignity, was so much in news. So the judicial pronouncement, again, the UPSC constantly asked. They had asked the Puttaswamy judgment so many times, and other judgments also they continuously ask. And also, they have favorites some of the important amendments that were done as a reaction to what was happening between 1970 to 1980, especially 38th Amendment, 42nd Amendment, 44th Amendment. These are absolute favorite of UPSC. PESA Act, 30 years had happened, and Tribal Self-Governance, PESA Act, where they have not been implemented, the peculiar provisions, and PESA Mahotsav was also celebrated, asked in serious examination. Very, very important. 6th schedule, there was so much in demand. Ladakh and tribal areas in Northeast India, 5th schedule versus 6th schedule, powers, provisions, compositions, no confidence motion, the constitutional provisions and the history of no confidence motion. That's again a very, very important. NALSA had celebrated 30 years and Legal Service Authority. So you need to read a bit about its composition and powers. delimitation, very, very favorite, and boundary changes, the deadlines, and how it is related to women's reservation, the composition of delimitation commission, the provisions which are there in the Constitution of India. Then appointment and removal of judges, judicial transparency, contempt of court, and collegium system. So much in news this year. So with this, we have covered all the important topics of polity. Now let's move towards another subject, geography. Now, almost if you see geography and environment, there are so many things which are common. So if you combine both, then we have almost 30 questions that comes. But pure geography, 11, 12 questions will come from pure geography. But there are certain 3, 4 questions that you can say is of environment or geography. So let's see. Let me give you a tips. Geography, the 11th class, there is a physical geography, and the one is talking about the India's river system mountain. The India's river system mountain, that book is non-negotiable. Read it. There will be 2, 3 questions that will come directly from that book. Now let's see. El Nino, La Nina, Indian Ocean Dipole, absolute favorite, how it impacts India and different other countries, how it impacts the monsoon system, break in monsoon, the other factors which affect the monsoon, very important and has been asked by UPSC several times. Then there are some conflict zones and strategic choke points which are so much in news, like the Red Sea, the Hormuz, Strait of Hormuz, Bab el Mandab, Malacca Strait, Taiwan Strait. So important these are, and you need to cover it. There are others as well, like a Panama Canal, Suez Canal, the Danish Strait. So these also can be asked by UPSC. Then Himalayan passes and Indian border. So Nathula Pass, Lipu Lake, Shipkila is very important for this year. Very, very important. And rivers entering through this pass, like Satluj through Shipkila. This has been asked in CDS as well. The Kali, Lipu Lake area, major passes, Kailash Mansarovar route. These are very, very important. Then volcanoes, the important volcanoes that are in news. So I have given all the important list. Some of the volcanoes like Mount Merapi was so much in news. And volcanoes, the types of volcanoes has been asked in CDS as well. The Pacific Ring of Fire, what is it? Then the Caldera Lake volcano, the Taftan, Tal, etc. Okay, I have given the list. Then there are some important rivers that we need to cover as well. If you see the major rivers, the origin and mouth of the rivers, and what are the important rivers that we need to cover? Yamuna River, Musi River, because of the riverfront that is going to be developed. River Chenab, there are important projects that are going on. River Chenab, Brahmaputra, a very important project is going on in Brahmaputra, and its tributary, right bank, left bank, Indus River and its tributaries that are so important. The important rivers of Kerala, like Bharat Puja, is very, very important. Then the bifurcation between the rivers originating from Eastern Ghats and Western Ghats. Yamuna River, because of the pollution and recent tragedy also that happened in Yamuna River, it was so much in news. So that also needs to be covered. Brahmani River was also a very important, very much in news. So that also needs to be covered. And if I talk about countries, then the countries like Israel, Iran, the countries like Nigeria, Chad, Burkina Faso, Mali, Ethiopia. Ethiopia is asked by UPSC several times. Then Venezuela and other neighboring South American countries. Cuba was so much in news. Nepal, Bangladesh, Taiwan. These are very much Pakistan, Afghanistan, because both were in conflict. So very, very important. Maldives, Indian important islands in Indian Oceans are very, very important. That needs to be covered. Okay, Djibouti, Somalia, South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo. Because of conflicts which is going on since a lot of time, these are very, very important. Now, there are some other conceptual things that are asked by UPSC, like there is a concept of Indian Ocean Dipole, then EEZ, ocean zones, ocean currents, what is called as territorial sea, what is called as continental shelf. Then there has been a BBNJ agreement, High Seas Treaty Agreement in oceanography. So that is very, very important. Okay. So biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction. This is the complete full form of. Then thermocline and ocean zones. These are also very, very important. Then we have the Middle East geography, as I had talked about now. These countries, Yemen, UAE, Iran, Israel, Saudi Arabia. These are very, very important for this year exam. Syria. very, very important for this year examination. Soils of India, different types of soils of India, specifically the black soil. Now, is it what it is called? Is it called as regular soil? Where it is found? What is the peculiarity? Is it permeable? Not permeable? Red soil? How it is different from black soil? Alluvial soils, laterite soils, where they are found? What all crops are grown in a particular types of soil? Which is the most dominant soil in the India? So all these things can be asked by UPS. And then we have the Latin and South America geography this year, very, very important. The Amazon River, the Andes Mountain, because Cuba was also in news. Cuba is not, and particularly if you see there is a North America, South America, we have Caribbean islands, we have a small country known as Cuba. And it was so much in news again because of the stance which was taken by USA with respect to the Venezuela. And then we were remembering about Fidel Castro and the important Che Guevara and other leaders. So many of these things were covered as well in the newspapers. Rivers, I have already told about Indian rivers, and there are some world rivers as well, which were so much in news. So, like Seine rivers, there was a Tapajos River, Amu Darya, Colorado River. So these Amazon is always in Yangtze River, Mississippi River, Mekong River, Rhine River, Missouri River. These are very, very important apart from the important Indian rivers. Then Western disturbance and demographic winter, this concept is very, very important for your examination. Then aurora, glaciers, super moons. So important glaciers as well I had listed, like Jaskar Glacier. Super moon concept is very, very important for this year examination. Then in terms of agriculture, they ask you that India is biggest importer, biggest exporter, and where it has grown. So this year we have pulses, very, very important, coffee, very, very important, cotton, very, very important, lychee, shrimp, asafoetida, quinoa, apple. These are very, very important for this year examination. Coconut oil, very important for this year examination. There are data you need to prepare, which state is the largest producer of a particular thing. So I have given the key facts as well. Then the cyclones, how cyclones are named. Arabian Sea, why there is a sudden increase in cyclone. Then Fengal, Asna, Dana, the important cyclones that had come. That can be what is called a super cyclone, how it is classified. So all of this can be asked by UPSC. Then tribes in news like Saharia, Bondo, Nakani tribe, Munda, Santhal, we had already discussed. What are called as PVTG. UPSC had asked in past as well, how many PVTGs are there? In which state the most number of PVTGs are there? So, which particular, like Kani tribe is where? It's found in the Gastamala Hills in the Western Ghats. Okay, Jarawa, Onjays. In CDS also they had asked about the Jarawas, Onjays, and Sentinelese. Okay. Then important water bodies, we had already discussed about the straits earlier. There are some lakes as well, like the Naivasa Lake, the Lake Urmia, which is in northwest Iran, Vembanan Lake, very important for this year examination. We have other states as well, like the Park Straits. We have islands like Lakshadweep, Socotra, and we had Caribbean islands, Yaka glaciers. So these are very important. Chal Beach was so much in news. So this you need to cover. Countries in news, I had already talked about so many countries. So those countries you need to cover. And NATO members also can be asked, which countries are NATO member, which countries are not, which countries are part of ASEAN, which countries are not part of ASEAN. So Horn of Africa constitutes of which all countries, what are called as Nordic countries, what are called as Scandinavian countries, who all comes into the Scandinavian and Nordic. So these things can be also asked by UPSC. So with this, we had covered the important topics of geography. Environment seems very dicey, right? But I will give you a very exhaustive list for this as well. So one thing which they constantly ask is the international agreements and convention. Paris Treaty, 10 years has happened, very, very important. COP30 and Ocean Conference, that was also very, very important. So now Paris Agreement and what all been done, NDCs, nationally determined contributions, what India has done with this regard, COP30, and then the Indian climate finance, net zero targets set by India, first global sector-wide binding emissions. They are talking about European emission norms. It has been asked in the past as well. Then there is a glacier conference that has happened. Okay, so these all are very, very important. Then India's climate schemes, India's initiatives like green credit program, that is very, very important. Eco-mark labels, sustainable buildings. Now we have green credit rules. We have Griha. We have Mission Life. pro-planet people concept, those all things which has been initiated by the Indian government that are also that are also very, very important. Like PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, that was covered in Press Information Bureau. So the initiatives done by India. Then Environmental Acts, absolute favorite of UPSC Environment Act is Environment Protection Act. So many times they were asked. Second is Wildlife Protection Act. And then comes the Biodiversity Act, and then comes the Forest Rights Act, Forest Conservation Act, plastic waste rules, because there have been recent amendment. So it can be also asked. Okay. And I have given the whole soul list that they had asked, and these things like green credit program, extended producer responsibility, these all things have been asked by UPSC in the past as well. Then protected areas in news, which all protected areas are very, very important, like Madhav National Park. So it was a 58th tiger reserves. So it is very, very important. Kebu Lamjau National Park is very important this year. Okay, we have Orang, so much in the news, cold desert bio reserves. Then we have Gangetic River dolphin habitat. Then India's first butterfly census has been conducted. Then in Kannur we have reserve as well for butterflies, then types of butterflies, which are the state butterflies of different particular states. Then some of the Ramsar sites were the newly added Ramsar sites are important. We have Dibru Sahiba National Parks as well, which was so much in use. Simlipal National Park was also very, very important. And in general, the sites which are in UNESCO are very, very important that you need to cover. Nora Dehi and all the other sites where cheetah has been reintroduced are very, very important as well. Species in news, let's see which all species are very important for this year examination. Our Great Indian Bustard, Ghadial, Pygmy Hog, Spoon-billed Sandpiper, Tigers, Asiatic Lion, we have a census this year, Snow Leopard, Nilgiri Tahar, very important, Gangetic Dolphin, Fishing Cat, the Sangai, the one-horned rhino, and Dugong, Musk Deer, Sloth Bear, Swamp Deer, Great Hornbill. These are very, very important. Apart from olive ridley turtle and Ariba and Gahir Matha River, how it was spotted recently in the Trivandrum area as well. We have the cold mountain grasslands, Amazon stingless bees. We have some of the plants as well, like the rosewood was so much in news. Rosewood, sandalwoods. Now, these are very, very important for this year examination. Okay. As I was talking about the new Ramsar sites, so first of all about Ramsar sites and the convention, how many sites of India are there, and the recent addition like Chari Dand, which is there in Gujarat, Gogabil in Bihar, which is an Oxbow Lake. Oxbow Lake, they had asked about Kamar Lake, etc. in the previous year question as well. Then no, we have Kachio Paltri Lake. We have other important Ramsar sites as well, like the Chilka. Important ones also they asked. Recent added are almost more important if you compare it with the static Ramsar sites, but these are also very, very important, which you need to cover. Some environmental bodies that are absolute favorite of UPSC and were so much in use: NGT, Kempa, okay, and we have IEA, then Forest Advisory Committee. We have now the different agencies like National Tiger Conservation Authority, National Board for Wildlife. These are also very, very important for this year examination, and IUCN, their reports that has been asked in past as well. Okay, and I have covered some other species here as well, specifically the plants. Like the chinar was so much in news. We have agarwood that was in news. Sandalwood I had already told you. Then Palimbra palm trees, buckthorn, mangrove forest, Brazilian velvet ant was so much in news. Galaxy frog, Jordan cruiser, Nicobar macapod was so much in news. So with this, we have covered the environment most important topics. Let's move to the next subject. Very, very important subject, economy. So what we have for this year, very important, inflation. So inflation, how we measure, how we control inflation, how it is related to different international, specifically the events that happen. Wars are happening and inflation is bouncing in India. How RBI controls inflations. Then CPI, WPI, GDP deflator. Read in comparison because there have been recent changes. Base year revision has been done. So that is very, very important for this year. So GDP base year, again, it was so much in news. Then the what is called as national income, national accounts, NNP, GNP, again read in difference. stock market, because slump of stock market was happening. What is difference between a Nifty, what is called as Bombay Stock Exchange, how they are different, what are the different indices, do we have now a regulatory body or not, that has been asked in past, what is SEBI, what is the composition of SEBI, there are different instruments that they had, different bonds, masala bond, green bond, these are very, very important, treasury bills, very important for you. Okay, derivatives, various derivatives are there, what is included in Nifty 50. Okay, and factors affecting the market. Then Indian rupee depreciation, why it is happening, causes, impact, and the different reasons and how it impacts the import and export is also very, very important. What is depreciation, what is devaluation, the difference between it. Then poverty, so different indices to measure poverty, and different committees to account the poverty, Tendulkar, and there are so many committees. Then what is multidimensional poverty index, again asked in CDS as well, Gini coefficient, poverty lines, so those are very, very important as well. Lakadwala, Alag committee, these are very, very important. Then RBI and monetary policy, specifically the monetary policy committee and recent rate discussions, and we have different kinds of the measures through which RBI influences. So that are also CRR, SLR, all of these are very, very important. Then special economic zones and colored economy is different. Now we say the silver economy, gold economy, all of this is very, very important for this year examination. We have labor codes, gender budgeting, and tobacco code. These three are very important, and these three has been covered in multiple times. Gender budgeting specifically is very, very important for this year examination. And we had so many protests as well, specifically in NCR with respect to the minimum wage. So minimum wage will become very, very important. Self-help groups and important schemes related to it is also very, very important. Fiscal deficit, different types of deficit. Then we have viability of fundings which are done, FRBM acts, that is very, very important. Vertical fiscal imbalance in India, 16 Finance Commission report, open market operations conducted by RBI with respect to it. Then we have financial innovation, the digital currencies, the UPI, the CBDC, the angel tax. They are asked a lot of times. UPI is, what is UPI? The different, the peculiarity about UPI, etc., is also very, very important. Then agriculture data, UPSC had released the agriculture data in April, and we had covered in our PIB compilation as well. Again, I am repeating, almost 10 to 12 state questions will come from Press Information Bureau compilation. And if you see, last year also they had come, and in this year CDS also 5 to 6 questions have come. So this is something which we have covered in our PIB compilation as well. And then with this economy is covered, now let's move to another subject. Let's see the science topics. Clean energy will be very, very important for this year examination. Specifically, the energy was so much in use because of the oil crisis. So green hydrogen, we have the green hydrogen mission, electric vehicles, ethanol, E20 with respect to it. Then we have flue gas desulfurization, nuclear energy, how to use it, what is the different contribution of renewable energy, non-renewable energy, nuclear energy, how it has developed, what is the percentage of enrichment that is done, EV policy. Now we have PM E-Bus Seva Yojana, FAME 3 scheme. So that all needs to be covered. Okay. The difference there is hydrogen colors are there: green, blue, gray, pink or purple, turquoise, black. So what all this stand for? Okay. So that needs to be covered. Hybrid energy as well. ISRO space mission, some of the space missions are very, very important. Not just ISRO, but different other NASA space mission is also asked. And NISAR is most important for this year. Gaganyaan, we have different space mission like SPARDEX, we have Axiom mission. That is very, very important for this year examination. Not only this, if you see, we have schemes, we have space missions like Aditya L1. That is also very, very important because Aditya L1 is one of the very important project of ISRO, which can have future impacts as well. We have recently a movie also released on Sun, and it's aging, a Hollywood movie. Okay, Chandrayaan 4. These all things can be asked from you. Okay, Parker Solar Probe is very, very important. Lucy mission, MACE mission, Europa Clipper. Then we have asteroid Bennu, that is very, very important. We have lunar mobile launcher, that is an important mission. Okay. telescopes. Okay. Then in biology, CRISPR, gene editing, genetically modified crop, CAR T cell therapy, mRNA, these are very, very important for this year examination. As they now UPSC always ask one or two questions from this IVF, no, IVF technology. Okay, sickle cell disease, that's also very, very important for this year examination. Now, blood cancer, white blood cell. Okay, messenger RNA, what is it? What is the peculiarity about messenger RNA? Then different types of genes like jumping genes. Jumping genes are very, very important. Then we have important applications of gene editing, which are used in the across the world. That is very, very important. Neurotechnology, xenobiology, then antimicrobial resistance, antibiotics, horizontal gene transfer method. That's very, very important for this year examination that you need to cover as well. Neurotechnology and its use, AI and how it can transform the medical and the whole medical landscape. DNA versus RNA. Emerging technology semiconductor summit was done by India, semicons, and semiconductor is very, very important. AI, they will ask you generative and non-generative AI, what is called a general artificial intelligence, and then the different frameworks, global frameworks, which is talked about, the regulations that are done until now. Google's GPU and CPU, what is the difference? Supercomputers, quantum computing technology, these are very, very important. Internet of Things, large language models. Okay, machine learning. What is machine learning? Is it subset of the whole concept of AI? What is big data? These are very, very important. Seventh generation tensor processing unit, different generations of computer, fourth generation versus fifth generation, 5G and 6G. These are also very, very important. Nanotechnology and its application. Okay, Dhruva space, that was also very much in news. Advanced biology, also they can ask you about Ozempic was so much in use in terms of weight control. So that can be asked. Extra chromosome DNA, organ on chip, then Hayflick limit, nano bubble technology was so much in news. That's very, very important for this year examination. Okay. So if you cover all these science and technology topic, you will gain maximum marks. And don't forget to solve the previous year question themes that are very, very important in terms of science and technology. And defense technology, I am just discussing very soon. We have IR schemes, which are very, very important for this year examinations. So international relation, if you will see, there are some important organizations which are covered. Like BIMSTEC was so much in news, ASEAN, SAARC, G20, NATO, OPEC, these are very important bodies. Then we have different infrastructure projects like Chena project, Udhampur, Srinagar, Baramulla rail link, New Pamban bridge. We have Sela tunnel. We have Lobilo corridor. That's very, very important for this year examination. Ports were green hydrogen hubs, especially Whittingham Port was so much in news. So that also you need to cover. Some of the important schemes like PM Kisan scheme, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, MG Narega, we have PM Awas Yojana. So these are very, very important. Digital agriculture mission, these you need to cover. Especially Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana is very, very important. Then we have PLI, we have PM Surya Ghar scheme, we have Ayushman Bharat scheme, we have PM Gati Shakti scheme, which is very, very important. Some of the defense technology, we had Operation Sindoor. So because of that, also defense technology has become very, very important. So Agni 5, MIRV test, Mission Divyastra, Palai missile, we have aircraft carriers, frigates, BrahMos missile, Rafael, and then we have Akash Tir. These all are very, very important for this year examination. We have INS Vikrant, which was so much in news, Tejas MK2, S400, Mission Divyastra, ASAT mission. These are also very, very important. Specifically, air defense will be so much in use because of the Israel as well, and Iron Dome and other air defense system. So how air defense system works, anti-drone missiles, drone technology will be so important for this year examination. Okay, high energy laser weapon system, which is called as HELWS. Okay. Then some indices, HDI, Global Hunger Index, World Happiness Report, Press Freedom Index has been asked in previous year questions as well. We have Transparency International Report. Okay, so these are World Happiness Report. These are very, very important. We have some of the report like Gender Inequality Report, Global Innovation Index, IMD, and some of the reports released on AI, like AI Index Report, World Energy Outlook, World Competitiveness Index, Global Risk Report. These are very, very important. Some of the recent schemes like One Nation, One Subscription, Namo Drone Didi, Viksit Bharat 2047, PM Vishwakarma, National Quantum Mission, Mission of Electronics. Then Ayushman Bharat is specifically very, very important. PM Awas, Jal Jeevan Mission is very, very important. We have some organizations as well like WTO, which will be important, UNCTAD, ease of doing business, logistic reports, ease of doing business, has it been resumed or not? So what it measures. SDG goals, those are important. And SDG report, SDG India Index, Swachh Bharat ranking, and some of the awards like Nobel Peace Prize, we have Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar, and we have Padma Awards, which are very, very important. Sahitya Akademi Puraskar, Gyan Peeth Puraskar. These are very, very important for our UPSC examination. So what you have to do is you have to give them priority and then see the magic. This exhaustive list is giving you a direction. Otherwise, there are thousands of topics, there are thousands of subjects which are there, and you are always perplexed what to study. So it's like never ending thing. So I have given you a direction. I'm also running PYQ logic series in which I'm covering all the years end to end from 2018. And for CSET also, we are releasing videos, and more mega videos will come. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and let's see the magic that will be done. Thank you very much.